Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 5:30 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Russ Riesinger.
And I'm Jeanelle Slade. A missing woman, a female body found, and a lot of questions tonight surrounding what Yellowstone County authorities are now calling a homicide.
Yellowstone County Sheriff Mike Linder not confirming the female victim found east of Laurel last night is that of 57-year-old Lori Bray. But the search for the missing Laurel woman has now been called off.
Now tonight, Sheriff Linder telling Q2 no arrests have been made, but investigators have questioned several people and are obtaining search warrants for phones and surveillance cameras.
Now an autopsy to officially confirm the identity of the body found last night is scheduled for tomorrow morning. The woman's body was found by an ATV rider in a wooded area near the intersection of Yard Office Road and Ridge Drive Wednesday evening. Detectives cleared that scene finally around noon today.
Now the search for 57-year-old Lori Bray has been suspended because Linder says it would likely yield no new results. Bray was last seen leaving the Cedar Ridge Casino in Laurel at 315 South First Avenue at 12:30 a.m. Tuesday.
Now her vehicle was found later that morning at the intersection of Buffalo Trail Road and Laurel Airport Road near the Yellowstone National Cemetery. Searchers combed that area Wednesday to no avail.
A woman's body was discovered again Wednesday night about 2 miles away from that search area.
A Billings woman who ran a meth ring out of her home with her dad and sold other drugs on the dark web will spend the next 5 years in federal prison.
40-year-old Brittany Green pleaded guilty to the crime back in March. Her father, Gregory Green, was sentenced in August to 3 years in prison. Along with meth, the pair sold Xanax online.
The duo received more than 100 drug packages from around the globe and were only discovered when one was intercepted in Michigan.
The suspect charged with shooting and killing 2 people and critically injuring 2 others, including Montana Highway Patrol Trooper Wade Palmer, was hoping for suicide by cop. That information revealed today in a Missoula courtroom.
Jonathan Bursch is accused of shooting 4 people on the night of March 14th. Shelley Hayes was pronounced dead on scene in Missoula, and Julie Blanchard, the mother of another victim, Casey Blanchard, died from her injuries 3 months later. Currently, Birch is not being charged in Julie's death.
During today's hearing, it was revealed that Birch made posts online during the manhunt admitting to the crime, and other posts show he was hoping for suicide by cop.
Well, the former manager of a Webo oil processing plant that exploded back in 2012 avoids prison after testifying against his boss.
Mark Hurst was sentenced here in Billings to 2 years probation and a $5,000 fine for Federal Clean Air Act negligent endangerment. Hurst provided evidence to help convict Peter
Margiotta.
Thank you. And then president of plant owner Custom Carbon Processing, who is yet to be sentenced.
Now, prosecutors say that Margiotta ignored warnings from Hearst that the plant was constructed unsafely and the conditions were ripe for an explosion. That explosion injured 3 workers, caused extensive damage, and started a fire that burned for 5 days. Well, another part owner in the Colstrip 3 and 4 power plants has unveiled plans to reduce its reliance on coal-fired power. Pacific Corp's new long-term energy plan calls for large investments in new wind and solar resources, while at the same time retiring Colstrip units 3 and 4 in the year 2027 instead of 2046. Pacific Corp is among 6 utilities that own a share of Colstrip units 3 and 4. Just last year, Washington State's Puget Sound Energy won approval to speed up its recovery cost for Colstrip units 3 and 4 by the end of 2027. The other co-owners in Colstrip include Northwestern Energy, Avista Corporation, Portland General Electric, and Talen Energy. Pacific Corp's 20-year energy plan also calls for investing in more than 1,900 megawatts of additional wind generation in Wyoming, along with 1,400 megawatts of new solar projects in the Cowboy State, all by the year of 2024.
Well, the trade war with China has a large employer near Butte looking to sell its facility. REC Silicon's board of directors says it is looking into the option of selling its large plant located just south of Butte. Now, that plant employs about 300 people and is the world's largest producer of silane gas. Butte economic officials say REC is important to Butte's economy, but it's too early to panic about the future of the plant.
From the press release and the information we've gathered, it is much too early to make any decisions. This is certainly not a closure. This doesn't even mean that there's a sale pending. It's just something that they're looking at as an option. And so it really is much too early to make any sort of substantial decisions about what this actually means.
Butte leaders plan to hold a meeting with rec management in the coming days to find out more about its announcement.
Williston, North Dakota is set to open the doors to its new airport 1 week from today. The new Williston Basin International Airport will be the first new airport to open in the U.S. since Denver International opened back in 1995. Williston's XMA project, with its $274 million price tag, encompasses 1,600 acres located 10 miles northwest of Williston. That new airport replaces Slowland Field, which has served the Williston area since 1947, but could no longer meet the area's growing aviation needs.
Senator Jon Tester held a town hall in Billings today, and he was asked what politicians in D.C. can do to inspire youth to have an interest in politics again.
Now, the senator answered with setting an example of professionalism, but he says political opponents jump on the other guy and rush to judgment too quickly.
This whole issue about the impeachment is a prime example. I think you got to try to keep your mind open and try to keep the politics out of it, try to do what's best for the country. That's why I'm here. You know, there was a story on the...
When asked about the Green New Deal, Tester says it is important to have debate from both sides. He says it's not getting discussed because there are too many non-climate issues in the bill.
Today, cattle prices for ranchers, public lands, health care, and veterans issues were among the other concerns, and the senator talked about U.S. tariffs on Chinese goods.
Most everybody will tell you, if not everybody, that you can put tariffs on China, but if you don't have your allies with you, they're not very effective. And I think that's what we've seen over the last year plus, is that the tariffs have been put on and they're just waiting us out. If we had more of our allies along, number one, we wouldn't lose those markets, and number two, I think China would come to time a lot quicker. And by the way, they're doing bad things to us, but they're doing bad things to Australia, Argentina, all those other countries, so they should want to join us.
Other issues brought up today include immigration, dark money in campaigns, and mental health.
Montana has the highest number of veterans per capita in the country, with 22,000 living in Yellowstone County alone.
And our other senator, Steve Daines, was in Billings today as well to celebrate a new grant from the VA to benefit veterans through equine therapy at Horses Spirits Healing, located outside of Billings. That $75,000 grant will go toward mental health counseling, help for those with traumatic brain injuries, PTSD, physical disabilities, or other war-related injuries.
He also took part in some horse frisbee and met several veterans who have benefited from equine therapy themselves.
See how this therapy is really helping these veterans who sometimes feel disconnected. When you think about our suicide rate here in Montana, is the highest in the nation. 22 veterans a day take their lives across this country. This is a way to help those veterans in need by connecting with a horse.
And for an extended look into what that grant money will go to and how it helps disabled veterans, make sure and watch the Q2 10 o'clock news tonight.
A Missoula businesswoman announced her campaign for governor today at the state capitol. Whitney Williams is the fourth Democrat to enter the Montana race, which includes Lieutenant Governor Mike Cooney, State Representative Casey Schreiner, and former State Representative Riley Neal. Williams is the CEO of Williams Works, which provides strategic services to corporate, nonprofit, and philanthropic clients such as the Nike Foundation. She's running on a platform of protecting public lands, investing in small-town Montana, and being the best chance of defeating Republican candidate Congressman Greg Gianforte.
Ultimately, I believe that, some folks are being left behind, especially in rural communities and small towns, and I think Montanans care about that.
Williams is the daughter of the former Montana Senate Majority Leader Carol Williams and former Congressman Pat Williams. She also worked in the Clinton White House.
Well, one man is dead after his SUV crashed and caught fire late last night near Ballantyne.
The accident on I-94 happened shortly before 11 p.m. Montana Highway Patrol says the SUV was traveling westbound when it went off the road, hit a dirt embankment, and went airborne. The SUV came to rest on the driver's side on East I Road. The vehicle then caught fire and engulfed in flames.
The driver was pronounced dead on the scene. The man's name, age, and home state have not yet been released.
A Kansas man is alive after spending 2 nights in Wyoming's cold, snowy Bighorn Mountain wilderness.
61-year-old Rudy Miller was with a hunting group Monday in the Elephant Foot area, the Bighorns. When he became separated, tried to hike back to their vehicle. The Sheridan County search and rescue crews searched through the night, but fog, snow, and rain created challenges. The search continued Tuesday and again Wednesday with a Wyoming National Guard helicopter forced back to the airport due to the bad weather.
Finally, on Wednesday, a hunter spotted Miller in the Sibley Creek area but couldn't make contact due to the terrain and weather. A horseback search team finally located Miller about a mile west of the Forest Service boundary. Miller was taken to Sheridan Memorial Hospital for evaluation.
And there's more news from across the state tonight. A family walking around Butte, well, that's an everyday occurrence, but a family of moose, now that's something you don't see every day. That story and much more on the statewide MTN News at 9 on the CW.
But first, on tonight's 5:30 News, these Montana firefighters are climbing to new heights in the name of cancer research. Find out how.
And in sports, your State A golf tournament hits the halfway mark. Scott shows us if anybody's able to keep pace with Laurel.
And coming up in weather, it was a beautiful Chamber of Commerce day here in the Billings area today, but a new cold front's moving in tomorrow. We'll tell you what it can mean for you coming up in a few more minutes.
You're watching MTN News with Jeanelle Slade and Russ Riesinger. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Green. This is the 5:30 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.